You see, loss isn't just about our very nearest and dearest that pass away. It's actually a deep-rooted story that questions our identity. Shaila experienced that real loss, her dad, her confidant, the pillar of her family, and the very person she personally connected to most on the 19th of March 2020. Welcome back to Raw, the podcast that is helping people to find a way through the feelings of helplessness to find some hope. On life's human experience journey, we go through many different feelings and emotions. Loss and grief is sadly something we will all experience. The emotional load of shock, anger, frustration, sadness, relief, regret, hate, bargaining, why me? Feeling loss makes us feel lost. It weighs heavy and sits in the very core of who we are. In this month's episode, I am absolutely delighted to welcome Shaila, where we talk openly about the very huge topic of loss and the weight of the emotional load that is both real and raw. You see, loss isn't just about our very nearest and dearest that pass away. It's actually a deep-rooted story that questions our identity. Shaila experienced that real loss, her dad, her confidant, the pillar of her family, and the very person she personally connected to most on the 19th of March 2020. Through her journey, Shaila has learnt and found tools, including the power of prayer, that have helped her to heal and find a way through to accept such a great loss. Check out her book, written in the memory of her lovely dad, a difficult title to remember, The Selfishness of Selflessness. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me, Jane.
It's a pleasure. It's lovely to see you.
You too.
Talk to me about this lovely book and what made you write it.
So, my father was ill in 2020, and a couple of months before he passed away, not knowing he was going to pass away, he asked me to write a book about his life. I was actually living in Qatar at the time, and he told me over the phone. So I was just like, my head was all over the place. I was worried about him. I'd started a new life in Qatar, and I didn't know what he was asking me to do. It was a huge responsibility. And then in March, on the 19th of March, he passed away. And over the last 5 years, I've just been trying to figure out how we learn to live without Dad, and how I can, carry on my life. What can I do? And I have gone through stages, and eventually, I think the last stage of my healing for my father was writing this book. And I've been able to publish it in the last couple of months.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Did you find hope when you started to write?
I did. It's helped me in my healing journey. I felt hope, and I hope anyone who does read it gets that hope as well that I've had whilst writing it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Tell me a little about the stages that you went through. So I know loss is a very difficult journey. We feel it, we sense it, we move through it, but some people get stuck. The emotions weigh heavy in our system, because when something really bad happens to us, we don't just cognitively understand it. We have to subconsciously connect into that story. And I think probably the 5 stages that you went through connect very much into that story. And as a physiotherapist, as a healthcare professional, you must know about the connections to fascia and the cells and everything that forms us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's only upon reflection I can see how that journey came for me. So I think you're absolutely right. We need to feel emotions. And the culture I come from as a Pakistani woman, particularly men in our culture, they don't allow themselves to cry, to mourn, to grieve. And I think that's so important, especially in the first few days, few weeks. And we can relate this to the tissue, like you said. So in our body, we're not going to run on a broken bone, because if we do, we're going to disturb healing. We're not going to be able to function. We're not going to be able to walk. So muscles, bones, tendons, they all have a healing stage. So for example, muscles take a couple of weeks to heal, bones take, about 12 weeks to heal. So we can relate this to our emotions. We need to give ourselves time to heal.
Absolutely.
And crying, staying in bed, doing all, the depressive side of loss and grief, it's needed.
Yeah.
And I definitely think I allowed myself to have that. So I think that's definitely the first stage of healing and dealing with this.
Why is it, do you think, that men struggle to accept that they need to feel it? Do you think it makes them feel weak or look vulnerable, or how do you think that plays out, particularly in the men?
I think it does. And I've written this in my book, that anxiety makes people think in our culture we can't cope. Depression makes us feel like, we've given up. So I think when men, or when any of us mourn or cry or stay in bed, it shows the world we've given up. And we don't want to perceive that to the world. We want to show them we're strong and we get on with it. And I think particularly with men, they just want to go into that practical mode and get on with it, not to be shown that they're weak.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the second stage. So what happened after the crying and the depressive side?
Yeah.
What was the next stage, do you think, that you experienced?
I think you need to use your lifestyle to heal you. So I personally started to kind of take care of myself. And I mentioned this in my book, that we have to take care of ourselves to show up for other people. So we're going to have other people in our life. Like, I've still got my mum, I've got my children, I've got my husband, I've got my siblings, my friends. We need to be good and strong for them. This life is a journey. And I imagine it like, the kind of the walkway in the airport. It's still going to continue going, isn't it? And
Absolutely.
when people get off, it's still going to go. So my dad got off, but we're still on it. So we've got to keep going. So we need to eat well, we need to exercise. And I did all those things. And as a healthcare professional, I know how important exercise is for the body. After the age of 35, I'm 37 now, we lose a lot of muscle mass. We need to ensure we do strength training to build our muscles, to keep us healthy so we can be healthier and have a better quality of life.
Yeah. It's like the analogy where on a plane you have to fit the oxygen mask to yourself before you fit it to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's the same with any of the things that we're dealing with.
Exactly. And that is the message that I've given, because unfortunately my dad didn't do that. He kind of put everybody else first, and then he got a string of healthcare, illnesses. He got diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, and research shows most of them illnesses are caused from self-neglect, stress, lack of exercise, not eating well. And I think you are what you eat as well. And I mentioned that in the chapter. So nourishing yourself and not just your cravings is so important, to feel better, to show up for other people, because we're all going to die. We're not going to live here forever. And that's not what I'm saying. We want to have a good quality of life. That's the message I'm trying to say here.
Absolutely.
So however long we've got, let's just live it as healthy as we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. How do you think it affected your identity?
My identity?
Yeah. So you live with some confidence for years and years and years, and then suddenly you find yourself, oh, I've got nobody to pass that information on to. He's not there to tell. How did you manage that?
So for me, my dad was like my safety blanket. So he was a really, everybody's dad is going to be precious to him, but I'm being biased here. So my dad was a really important role, because he was one of 9 sisters, and in our family we live with my grandparents. So I lived with my grandparents, and my dad was a really important role because he was the only son. He did have a younger disabled brother, but he was the only healthiest son, and everybody came to him, and our house was everybody's solution to everybody. My aunties, my uncles, my siblings, everybody came to our house. So he was a really important person for everything.
He was like the patriarch of the family.
Yes, he was. And for me, when I would go to my dad for everything, like my dad knew everything to me. He knew all the financial advice. He knew everything when I was buying a house, when I was doing my degree. I was like, Dad, advise me on this. And I went to him for everything. Asked him for everything. So when he went, it was like this cold, lonely feeling, like this safety blanket had just been ripped off from you, and you're in a strange place and you don't know where to go. And it's scary. It's so scary to feel like that.
Yeah. And then that, of course, affects who you are.
Yeah.
It affects your identity in lots of different ways, but people don't actually realise that that's what it's doing.
Yeah, yeah. And It did. It affected my identity because it was like, who's going to take care of us? Who's going to have the answers to everything? Who's going to protect us all? You know, and we all had to kind of navigate this new life without him. And my mum as well. He'd spoilt my mum all her life. My mum didn't even know how to pay a bill. So like worrying about her and thinking how she's going to carry on. It's a really scary feeling.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel lost.
You do. Absolutely.
So loss actually breeds the feelings of feeling lost.
It does. It does.
Okay, so what else did you do to help you? So you did all the food, and what we eat is actually information. It's not just nourishment.
Yeah.
It's actually, we're feeding our body with information.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I pray as well. So
Okay.
I'm a Muslim. So prayers help me heal through lots of things that have happened in my life, but particularly with my father's loss. Just praying. So we pray 5 times a day as Muslims.
Okay.
And that prayer and that structure of praying 5 times a day, it gives you routine, it gives you structure, it gives you a purpose. And giving your problems to God, it makes you feel so much lighter, you know, like crying in front of
You've
God.
got somewhere to release
Yes.
that emotional load.
Absolutely, yeah. And I find it better to cry in front of God than I do maybe to a person, because I think we're all grieving, we're all struggling. And maybe if we grieve too much in front of somebody, they feel helpless in how they can help us, but God is unlimited. God can give us all the help we can.
Okay. We're also, when we grieve in front of people, we're passing on our negative energy through to them too. So maybe they can't deal with that or manage that, or they feel it heavy too and they don't know how to release that.
It's true. It's true.
So you've done the power of prayer.
Yeah.
You've done the food, you've done the exercise, you've done movement, you've kept your boundaries and your structures in place. And that's a liken to a lot of the things that we use in the mental health structure.
Wow. Yeah.
That's how we keep ourselves sane.
Yes.
By keeping our boundaries and our structures.
Yeah, I think boundaries is really, really important.
Really important. Yeah.
And I think that's boundaries not just in like relationships, because I do believe boundaries are bridges to keeping healthy relationships, aren't they? It's about boundaries within ourselves, within our food, within our exercise, within our whole day with work. Not giving too much, just having something for us as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think some people look in the wrong place, though.
Yeah.
There is a famous saying by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and he says that sometimes we need to change the way we're looking at stuff in order for the things that we're looking at to change.
Yeah.
And I think that is so apt in so many different scenarios and so many different situations that we find ourselves faced with. Sometimes we just need to find a solution to a challenge that may be not where we think we should find it.
That makes sense.
The challenge needs to be found. The solution needs to be found inside.
Yes.
Not with external validation.
I love that. I think that ties down to kind of, if someone is mean to you, not take it about, it's a reflection on them, not you.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's not having that external validation, that finding out how you can fix it. So
because
you're not a victim all the time, kind of thing.
And there is no sort of one size fits all.
No.
So the power of prayer might not work for somebody else.
Exactly.
And the power of exercise or movement might not work for somebody else.
Exactly.
It's about what you know to be right for you.
Yes.
And it's looking at that individualized story that actually says, well, what makes me... What are my beliefs and values? What do I value?
Yeah.
What's important to me?
Yeah.
What do I need to understand about me to get me through this next challenge?
Absolutely.
And let's face it, we will all have to go through that challenge, or some of us have already had to go through that challenge.
Yeah.
And it's inevitable that every single person on this human life journey will go through the challenge of loss.
No, it's true. It's true. And I think this was the final stage for me, because doing all those things, the last bit was doing something in honour of someone you love, who's something that they've left, pass it on. And that helps you kind of continue their legacy.
Absolutely.
And that's what this book did for me as well.
Absolutely. It's like journaling, isn't it?
It is like journaling. It is. And we call that in my religion Sadqa Jariyah, which means a continuous form of charity or good deeds or something in the name of the person that's lost.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So why did you come and want to speak on this podcast then? For exactly that reason?
No, because of you, Jane, of course. No, I think, Jane, you've helped me as well. Honestly, you have. You've helped me understand things. The couple of sessions that we've had, you've been amazing. You're such an inspiration, and you've helped me deal with things and look at things with more clarity. And I wanted to come here to share my story, you know, and help other people understand that it's not the end if you do lose someone close to you, and you can move on from it, and it's not about forgetting about them, it's learning to live without them, but in a good way, because they would have wanted that as well.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're all going to die. For me personally, I believe life is temporary, you know, and we will meet them soon. I believe that helps me.
Yeah.
That I will see my dad soon in heaven. You
exactly.
know? Yeah.
And that's where belief systems come into situ, because some people don't believe in life after death.
Yes.
And so for them, it's final.
Yeah.
It's the end.
Some people do. Yeah.
And some people believe that.
Yeah.
But it's about finding that small glimmer of hope in that sea of helpless feelings that helps us to move forward.
Yes.
Instead of staying stuck.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
I've loved this conversation.
Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for spending some time with me and sharing your story and your inspirational book, The Selfishness of Selflessness.
Yes. It's available on Amazon.
Available on Amazon. If you'd like to leave a final message, what would you say to somebody who's experiencing that?
I think you are worth living well for. You are worth living well for. And if you do put yourself first and look after your body, your mind, your soul, you're not being selfish. You're being what this world needs. And that's what the person who's lost would have wanted you to do.
Exactly. We need to be kind to ourselves.
We need to be kind to ourselves, absolutely.
Thank you so much again for coming. It's been an absolute honour to have you here.
Oh, and thank you for having me.
And thank you to all our listeners for tuning in on a regular basis. We're trying to build this to enable people to find that glimmer of hope from feeling helpless. Continue to watch us, subscribe, and follow me at WhatTheBrains, BRAINZ, for more information and some exciting news coming soon.